kind of spooked and ran at him a little bit, and he, like, in self-defense mode, like, spun around and kicked up and kicked me in the foot.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in to Off the Track, a daily racing form podcast that goes beyond the handicapping and the past performances. We want to know more about our guests and how they got to the positions that they are in horse racing. This week, it's Andie Biancone from FanDuel TV. She talks all about getting to be a broadcaster now on FanDuel, starting in horse racing, working with her dad as an assistant trainer, the ups, the downs, and all the places that she's been around the world for FanDuel TV. Kick back and enjoy the convo with Andie. Very excited for our next guest on Off the Track, because I haven't really ever had a chance to talk too much to Andie Biancone, but I've become a big fan of Andie over the last couple of years on FanDuel TV. Andie, I'm going to set the over-under at least 2.5 times that I call it TVG, being a former TVGer. I just can't help it, because that's always what it was to me. But how are you doing? And thanks so much for joining us.
Gino, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be on the show.
So we have a lot of ground to cover with you. You're such a busy gal, but we want to start with Royal Ascot, because you just came back from a trip to Royal Ascot with the horse of your dad's that ran really, really well. What was that experience like, getting to go, not necessarily working, covering the races on the broadcasting side, but having your own horse there, galloping in the morning? And what was all of that like?
It was really unique. I think just the best part was to be able to do it with my family. My sister Marie works for Tattersalls, so she lives in Newmarket with her husband, my niece, and my nephew. And my dad made, like, everybody take a week off work. The kids missed school. Like, we had one horse, and we were all just, like, doting on her hand and foot, like, you know. But it was super special just to. Usually when you have family that lives overseas, you don't really get the luxury of seeing them very often. So it was super nice just to spend that time with my family. And it was definitely like a core memory. Not only, even just getting to go over there to participate at Ascot is a huge, huge honor. So the fact that she ran third, and I mean, just, it was incredible, to say the least.
Okay, we want to get to her in just a minute, but before we do, you had a little bit of an accident when you were galloping her in the mornings, or tell us a little bit about what went down, because you came back injured a little bit, right? You were on the disabled list for a little.
Yeah, it was crazy. So last day before the race, Gallops Lenny Lou per usual, and she had this awesome company horse with her the whole time. They don't really have ponies over there, but we just wanted to give her like a companion horse because it could, a lot of new things, trucks, everything. And Lenny Lou is very independent. So honestly, she would probably have been fine without the company, but we were just checking all the boxes, making sure everything was right. And on the last day, she kind of spooked and ran at him a little bit, and he, like, in self-defense mode, like, spun around and kicked up and kicked me in the foot. And, like, while I was on her, and honestly, like, thank goodness it was my foot and not her in the ribs, because imagine going all that way and getting kicked in the ribs the day before you're supposed to run.
No bueno.
I sobbed, obviously, because, well, one, I was like, I'm going to be out for the whole summer. That was my number one fear. Like, if you know me, like, that is the highlight of my day, like getting on horses. And, I know it's not something you can do forever. So I'm super just soaking up my time I have galloping, and I cherish every second of it. So I was just sobbing that, I was going to be on the bench for the summer, and, and Lenny Lou just, like, packed me the 20-minute walk home with my foot, like, dangling off the saddle.
But I'd imagine that really good third place finish and how she fought back probably perked you up a little bit and made you feel a little better the next day.
Yeah, I almost flipped the dang wheelchair over. I mean, like, the crutches were in the air. It was crazy, though. Like, England doesn't have regular crutches, so I had, like, the little polio crutches and just looked so goofy. But I was a little bummed out, because I was really looking forward to being listed as her groom and, like, walking her into the paddock. But thankfully my sister was able to step up to the task. So honestly, it was even more rewarding to see my sister be able to walk her in.
So what's next for Lenny Lou? What are the plans coming up? Little time off, and then maybe some of the big races end of the year?
Yeah, she's just in a little bit of light training right now. She loves her job. But we do want to kind of give her an easy summer and hopefully bring her back at Keeneland, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, go to the Breeders' Cup with her.
Absolutely. So for you, when did you really start becoming a bigger part of your dad's operation? I mean, as you growing up with your dad as a trainer, I'm sure you're around more, but when did you really kind of get involved more and gallop and kind of help make the decisions and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, I think in the first grade, it said, "What is your dream job?" And I said, "I want to be my dad's assistant." Like, that
There
was
you
what
go,
I
right?
wrote down. I was like, "Dang, you didn't have very high aspirations, girl." No, just kidding. But I was always kind of daddy's girl, always following him around. We'd spend summers in Saratoga. He'd come to my horse shows and like school me, think he was schooling me, wear my ribbons on his belt or whatever. Um, but no, I think I became really more. I mean, in high school and stuff, I'd spend the weekends, and he'd always pull me out of school to go to the sales with him. I'd work sales with him from a very young age. Um, but I really became a full time part of his operation. After I graduated high school, I did a year of community college at Pasadena City College, and I was really depressed. Like, I was just in a very bad place. I struggled with my mental health a lot in high school, kind of like an astray teen. And I just like could told my dad everything. I was like, "Dad, like, I'm going down a bad path. Like, I'm depressed, like all this stuff." And he was like, "You're moving to Florida. Let's go." Like, because he had moved his string out there. Like,
Nice.
as soon as I graduated high school, he just kind of fresh started out there because it wasn't going well in California. He was really down on horses and such. And so I moved out there and I galloped for him. That's when I started learning how to gallop, which he never wanted. He never wanted me to ride. He was like,
He kind of wanted you to want it, right? Not to like push you into it a
no,
little
he
bit.
literally told me I would never sit on a racehorse. And I was like, fine,
See?
like, I will quit. And anyways, he started with one horse and then one became five, and five became shipping me around with his horses. He's like, "Oh, it's actually really convenient to have her be able to ride them." No,
Yeah, someone
um,
that he trusts, right? He knows that you're going to do
yeah,
exactly like what you guys talk about. It couldn't be better for him and for that situation.
yeah. So I learned how to gallop. This was 2019. Um, that was my 20th birthday present. Was I got to sit on a racehorse. And then
Nice.
so I galloped for him full time, was his, and learning the assistant role, and did classes at Palm Beach State College. I then transferred to the University of Florida in 2019, and I studied animal sciences for a year, and then came back that summer. He sent me to Saratoga with two horses, with Kelsey's Cross and Diamond Oops, who, as you know, is like a huge part of my life. But
Yep.
I had no help. Like, it was just me, those two horses, like doing everything. He kept me real busy. And it was probably one of the greatest summers ever, just in terms of learning. And came back. My dad got diagnosed with kidney cancer, and I opted to not go back to school because we had a bunch of nice horses as well that he needed help with. We had Sole Volante at T Indian. Um, they were good 2-year-olds at this point. And then, they got onto the Derby Trail, and I kind of decided not to go back to school and just kind of assume that role.
Well,
And
what kind of education at school for what you want to do could you get more than what you were doing right there with those horses, right?
no,
Taking care of them all like hands on like that. There's
no,
nothing really at school that could
no, God,
replicate that.
bless the animal sciences department, but we were like learning how to put a halter on a horse, and I was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Um,
Yeah.
um, but so I'm saving something for when I retire. I still have 12 credits left at University of Florida that
Nice.
I will maybe one day finish. But yeah, that's when I became an assistant full time for my dad, and yeah.
So we talked about Lenny Lou. You just mentioned Diamond Oops. I was going to ask you some of the memorable horses of your dad's through the years that kind of stick out to you.
Yeah, I mean, in the time I've worked for him, obviously, Diamond Oops was a massive part of not only me and my career and developing as a horseman, but just helping me as a person overall. I say that horse has taken me everywhere. Like, he's my wings. Like, you know, he took me to 2 Breeders' Cups, you know, grade 1 placed multiple times, grade 2, grade 3 winner on turf and dirt.
Different surfaces, yeah, all over.
Took me, and for a horse who was never supposed to even see a racetrack, like, he had a devastating injury at the end of his 2-year-old season, and they said this horse would never see a racetrack again. And my dad never lost patience. My dad and Kieran Dunn and Kinhoy, they like rehabbed him all together, and you know, Oops just proved everybody how badly he wanted it. And you know, I have my job at FanDuel because of Oops. I traveled to Kentucky Downs with him one time, and I did an interview with Joe Christopher, and that's kind of the interview that got me my job at FanDuel.
It's almost like you've done one of
Riggs.
these before. That was like my next question. I was going to say, how did that go from getting into FanDuel and then boom, like you were already there for me. So keep going.
Yeah. Kevin Rigsby, our former, he was, you know, he doesn't work for FanDuel anymore, but he kind of is the one who, based on that interview, kind of reached out and said, hey, you should try this TV thing. And I was like, no, I'm only good at talking about Oops. Like, I'm not good at, no, what are you talking about? But I gave it a shot, and I told my dad, I was like, how, like, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to gallop horses and do this FanDuel job? And he's like, well, just do it until you're tired. And I was like, okay. So, like, that was almost 5 years ago, and here we are, still galloping and doing the job. And it's only opened more doors for me, and you know, I'm so grateful that I've just stuck with both.
So as an investigative reporter, I had to do some of my due diligence, Andie, and I had to reach out to some of my old friends and try to get some things to ask about you. And one of the things that I got from Dave Weaver and from Michael Joyce, who I know you got along really well with, was to talk about the on-air stuff that she's able to talk about with equipment, blinkers, riding crop, and in particular, the first person in the history of TVG or FanDuel TV to say testicles on air when referring to a handicapping angle. So I think that's what we've kind of become to know you for, the fun that you have, but the way that you're able to explain things that I don't think people would get. And you have like a knack for doing that. And is that something like, it almost reminds, like, seems to me like you were maybe doing that when you were growing up with your friends, like explaining the things, and like it just comes off very easily for you.
Well, it was just conversations I would have with my dad on the regular basis. Like, we check horses over all together all the time. I mean, Sole Volante, when we gelded him, he had 2 twisted ones, and those things had to come out, and it changed him significantly. He was just in so much discomfort when he had his testicles. So, you know, things you just pick up being around the barn and working in the barn. Like, people talk about testicles all the time on the backside, and it's not a big deal. So the first time I said it, I definitely had a mini heart attack. Like, I was going to get fired. I was like, oh, I'm totally getting fired over this. And then, like, next thing you know, now to this day, I mean, that was like 3 years ago. And if you type in like Andie Biancone on Google, it's like the 3rd recommended thing, like testicles. I'm like, oh, okay, like, yeah. I guess just,
sure.
You know,
at least it's the right video that's coming up. And
yeah, but it's anatomy. And like I said, I'm very grateful for my dad. He's just it's beyond like what a good horseman he is. And I do feel like, I mean, you don't see him as a big numbers trainer. Like, you know, he never has more than like 25 horses, but it's because he's such a horseman. Like, when you have 40 or more horses, it becomes a different job.
Impersonal,
And
right?
yeah, it becomes a different job. You're managing a lot of moving parts. And, you know, I say, like, you know, sometimes it's almost like his business suffers a little bit because he's such a horseman. Like, obviously we're trying to win races. Like, that is the point. Obviously, no duh, like, we're winning races, but the things that bring him happiness, like, and I don't know if this is ever something he would readily admit to anybody, but I see it firsthand, like getting a horse to eat a mint for the first time, or getting a nervous horse to finally relax and settle and feel confident. Like, the little things, that's what he really gets joy out of. And that's why, like, when he was going through cancer and everything, like, he was getting chemotherapy and he was at the barn. Like, he was going and throwing up in between sets. Like, it was crazy, but it's what keeps him alive. And, like, you know, everything I know is truly because of my dad. And I'm really blessed that we we share the same love and the same passion for the horses.
And we are all very lucky because you share a lot of the knowledge that you've gained from your dad, which isn't stuff that you can find when you're looking at the Daily Racing Form where we are, right? A lot of it's not stuff that's on the paper. Like, what are some of the things that you kind of joked about, but when you're looking at a horse, maybe in the paddock, what are a couple of things that you look for like positives or negatives for horses that you may like upgrade?
Well, horses are just like people, they're all individuals. They're ever changing. You could have one day you could catch me looking really good. Next day you catch me, I'm like breaking out and I have a mustache. You know what I mean? Like, it just, it depends. And it could have nothing to do with the trainer. Like, I think that's a huge misconception. Sometimes I could see a horse maybe lost a little bit of weight from his last race, or maybe their coat looks a little more dry. Could have nothing to do with the trainer. It's just horses coming in and out of form. You see it on the numbers. If you can see it on the numbers, like, you should definitely be able to see it in their physical. So overall, one thing, and I think this is just from being around horses my whole life. I'm not sure. I know my dad is very much the same way, but when I see a horse one time, I can really easily recall the next time I see them, whether they looked better that prior time or if they look better this time. And I don't know what it is. And I'm very good at recognizing them. I don't know, because I'm terrible with people. Like,
that's great, right?
Like, with horses, for some reason, it's a little different. So,
and you found a way to take advantage of that, right? For your living, because I sometimes won't remember a face, but like I can remember like a replay. And that was sort of one of my next things to kind of get into with you. Like, what were some of the things that you had to learn, or maybe some of the things that you weren't doing as much when you started having to handicap more races than just the ones that your horses were in?
Oh my gosh. I mean, for this job, I had to learn how to handicap. Because I've never been in this for the wagering, or
that's what I was going to ask. Did you gamble really, or maybe a little on your horses, but just kind of betting on?
Bet the only bet like I would ever make is $20 across the board on Diamond Oops when he was 21 to 1. I knew he would hit the board. Like, I knew he would pull through and hit the board when he's at big odds. But no, really, I don't do it for the gambling. Like, I genuinely just love horses. I'm just a weird horse girl. I love horses. And so also learning about wagering, because I want to be helpful for the gamblers. Like, and I'm also not going to sit here and lie and be like, yeah, I play racing every day. Like, no, I don't. My job is to look at the horses and deliver the information I know so that the wagers can make informed decisions. I don't care about gambling on them. I do it because I love to look at horses. I love to ride horses. I love to look at them. I love to know them. That's just what I love.
From listening to some of your interviews before talking with you, it sounds like your mom and my mom have something in common, that when I'm on air or when I have shifts, my mom is playing the races too, like watching a lot of the time. And my dad will be texting like, your mom is firing away right now. She's got some pick threes going. She's got a double here.
Totally different story. And it's funny, my mom she's not a horse person. Like, she'd come to my horse shows when I was a kid and she'd video the wrong kid. And I'm like, Mom, that's not even me. And she's like, that's not you. I'm like, no, that's not me. That's a great horse. I ride a chestnut. But she does really enjoy watching the show, and she makes like dollar wagers here and there, and she loves to bet exotics and stuff like that. So she's cute.
Now, it's pretty amazing where work will take you, right? I mean, I was just trying to go through where I've seen you in the last year or so: Gulfstream, Fairgrounds, Keeneland, Churchill, Ascot, Delamar, Horseshoe, Indy. Where else am I missing? Probably still a few places too, right?
Oh yeah. Kentucky, living in Kentucky is a lot of driving. It's Keith always says it's like the Bermuda Triangle, like where you go Louisville, Indiana, Ellis, like everything's 2 hours away. But yeah, I'm immensely grateful. I would have never imagined all the places I've gone just because of horses. Like, I'm so grateful.
What is an average day like for you? Because I'm trying to put it together. You're galloping horses in the morning. We see you doing that. Then most days you're working an on-air shift at FanDuel. And then I even see you giving out plays for Hong Kong a lot of the times, which is later on in the night. So you definitely can't be sleeping very much. Like, what is an average day like for you, getting up in the morning, moving from one job to the next? Like, break down for us a little bit.
Maybe I don't sleep much, but I do sleep very well. So
Good.
quality over quantity.
Good.
But honestly, it depends on the time of year. So right now in the summertime, a majority working Ellis Park with some studio shifts at Churchill Downs midweek, a couple remote travels for FanDuel. But, I have one horse for my dad at Churchill Downs and two more coming next week. But I do gallop for Norm Cassie, Gabby Goddett, Mr. Gabby Goddett. We keep it in the fam. I gallop for him while I'm at Churchill. So anytime I'm in Kentucky, basically my day will look like, I get princess treatment at that barn. Like I get there at 5:15. Like my tack is set. Like
Nice.
So
Nice.
a little bit of princess treatment there. Thank you, Norm. And then I'll usually get on 6 for him, depending, during the meet he has more horses. So during the meet I was getting on 8, but as I have one for my dad here now and a lot of his horses are at Saratoga, I'll be getting on 6 for him and then one for my dad and however many more are coming. And my dad's foreman is up here as well, Alvaro. So he's a huge help and we just kind of like teamwork. Like I ride, if I need a little somebody to walk my horse, like it kind of happens, which is great. And then obviously I'm overseeing my dad's horse 100%. So like ordering her stuff, making her feed, vet work, making her schedule. Like I'm in constant communication with my dad, but she's my full responsibility. Whereas for Norm, I'm just getting on horses freelance, so being paid per horse. And then after that, I rush home. I'm usually home at about 9:15 and I'm out my door at 10 to go to Ellis. Make breakfast, feed the cats. I do have like 3 of the same dresses. I just ordered like 3 colors, one Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Ellis dress. Yep. So I don't have to think about what to wear. Then I drive to Ellis, work the day. I usually have a race or 2 off. I usually request the last off just so I can get a move on home. And then I drive home and then I go to bed. And then
you do it all over again.
Horseshoe Indy, I'm not working. That's purely just because I'm trying to be a supportive girlfriend to Keith. And I love watching him and, nothing like some quality time in a 2-hour car drive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you can't get enough of it, right? And even when you don't have to be at the track, you're at the track, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. And then, Hong Kong once a week is just great. I love following Hong Kong racing. It's kind of my roots and I was born there and the racing there is incredible and it's really fun because if you're a trip handicapper, that is like the best place to wager.
Now, you talked about him for a second. I want to give a little love to Norm Cassie because I actually had such a blast when I was just working way back when it was TVG and I started and I was like one of the new guys there. I would get sent to a lot of the smaller tracks and a lot of times Norm would be there when he was assistant for his dad, like taking care of the horses there. So I think a couple times at Delta Downs, I got to hang out with him early on. I think once at like Presque Isle, I was there for like the mile or the Masters and we got to chat a little bit. And just talking with him early, he was so sharp. You just knew that at some point he was going to be on his own and he was going to be really sharp. Like he just was one of the guys that was the best thing I could describe. I mean, he gets it. He's a nice guy. He's fun, but like he means business and he really cares about what he's doing.
Yeah, no, it's been a really great experience getting to work for Norm as well. I just think that him and my dad are so they're super different, both extremely good, but different. And it's been so amazing to just see something different and get to take, what I like and etc. But he does do an amazing job. His horses are wonderful. The team is like a family. So they do an awesome job. And so I love the vibes at Norm's barn. And he's always, he knows how important galloping is to me. And that is an essential part of my mental health that keeps me out of jail. So, when I'm away from my dad, he just brings me on in and I get to get on horses. So even at Oaklawn, that during the winter, I was doing 2 weeks Gulfstream, 1 week Fairgrounds, 1 week Oaklawn. So Norm has horses at Fairgrounds and Oaklawn. So I would just gallop for my dad when I'm in Florida. And then I'd go get on whatever horses Norm needed me to when I'd be at Oaklawn. So it's awesome.
I know when I got on TVG and was on sort of TV, it was surprising to me, like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of people watching us, because you're going to get some good responses on social media from people. You're going to get some negative ones. For you, you've had a couple videos go viral, like where you're on the equicizer or talking about the riding crop and like really cool videos like that. But then on the flip, and I bet when you're walking around the track, like everybody sees who you are now, knows you. They're probably saying hi, wanting a picture or an autograph. But on the flip side, you probably get some negative stuff too from people that don't even know who you are. What was that like for you? Like all of a sudden, oh my gosh, everybody knows who I am, positive, negative. For me, it was kind of a trip, like good and bad. You're walking around and people know you, but then a bad day, it feels like it's piled on. Like, are you able to kind of like weigh the good with the bad on that?
Yeah, it feels weird. I don't really feel a difference. Like I feel like the same person I've always been. So like and honestly doing TV is, I feel like it's like play pretend. Like I don't even feel like I'm talking to a bunch of people. But just try to be myself, and there's always going to be, whether you're on TV or not, there will be people who like you and who don't like you. So it's just, but I'm really lucky. I feel like I always get a lot of positive feedback, which is really nice. But we're just out here being ourselves, loving the horses, and just doing our best to showcase the best of our sport. And that's all we can really do.
You were certainly bred for stardom, though, with dad, two-time ARC winner, mom, beauty queen, right? I mean, you were set up to be a star. We talked a little bit about mom, and we talked quite a bit about dad, who he has had tons of success before you were even around, and then sustained success at very high levels for an unbelievable amount of time. Talk to us a little bit about mom, family, and sort of how you kind of got into racing, right? You grew up in Arcadia out here after coming to the US when you were young.
Yes, so I was born in Hong Kong, and we moved from Hong Kong when I was 3. But yeah, always Santa Anita was right in my backyard. Like during my lunch break in high school, I'd take friends and like go to the backside and spent weekends going there with my dad. Very blessed, just really blessed to be immersed in racing from a very early age, and it's always been something that's brought me a lot of happiness. My mom, I think now that I do TV, we're a little bit closer because we have something, I don't know, being on TV has forced me to be a little bit girlier, because I've always been like a huge tomboy. I'm like, I want to train, like that's all I want to do. Like, so I've always kind of been more like that, and being on TV has kind of made me, polish up a little more, like learn how to put on mascara, like, things like that.
Well, for me, like that's something that dad doesn't teach you.
No.
So that was one of those things that I definitely didn't learn either. And I like left the makeup one time out in the hot car, and it's like melting all over the place. It's like I didn't have the makeup, the tips there, but yeah, we all had to look a little prettier when we go on TV, right? Even us guys.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think the TV stuff has kind of helped me relate to my mom a little bit more, because she was always like, she put me in ballet when I was 4. I quit on the first day. I was like, I hate this. Like, I'm not doing this. So, and she's not really into horses. Now she's more into them. Like, she loves oops. She loves coming to the barns, like Unchained Elaine. Like, she comes to the barn and is, loves to give horses carrots and stuff. But she does put like surgical shoe covers over her shoe. Like, she's not getting dirty. Like, nice. Not sweating. She's not getting dirty. But yeah, it's cool. I really love I don't know. I love being half Chinese. Like I don't feel so French, but I really do feel rooted in my Hong Kong roots. Like I speak fluent Cantonese. I grew up going back to Hong Kong every single year. Like I haven't been back since COVID, but my grandma still lives over there. And I'm very close with her. So
now, as an assistant trainer for your dad, do you get the itch ever to want to be your own trainer, to someday down the line, do it yourself?
I've always thought about that. I mean, it's been my dream since I was like 5. I don't know. It's hard. I know, like, at some point I'll probably come to a crossroads. For now, I'm really enjoying just galloping and doing FanDuel. the thing about FanDuel is I love my team so much, and I love showcasing our sport. Like, I can't even horses have touched my lives in so many ways, have touched my life in so many ways. I really just think it's a great platform to share how incredible horses are, even deeper than wagering on them and stuff like that. So I do think it's in it. Like, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to showcase our sport and such. But there's a part of me, like, I wonder what would happen if I ever trained. But it's a huge responsibility. Like, it's massive, and I do want a family and stuff one day too. So I don't know, just kind of have to play by ear, see what happens. Who knows? Maybe I'll just have like 3 horses of my own and or be like Galloping Granny or something.
Yeah, it's nice to know you have some options, right? Like, that it's a possibility you could do that. You've been on air now, you're doing that, and it's probably different doors open than you thought about a few years ago right now, right?
Yeah, I never imagined myself on TV, to be honest. So, and I'm very grateful that has worked out, but I just, I feel like God has a plan. Like, I will end up doing like what I'm meant to be doing, and I'm just going to keep working hard in both things and enjoying both things right now.
Okay, we have some fun questions for you to finish up, some kind of rapid fire fun ones. Give us some things. What do you do when you're not at the track? Those few seconds when you may not be at the track, or if you're not doing something horse related, what is something you may do for fun? You're hanging out with your boyfriend, hanging out with some of your friends, anything at all that comes to mind.
I love cooking.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice.
Yes.
Anything good lately you've been working on?
You know what? I just kind of like to chef it up at home. I make a really good steak. Like, I love cooking. So that's kind of my fun thing. I have 2 cats, I'm a cat mom. That's full-time job.
What are their names?
Weeb, Phoebe, short,
Nice.
Weeb for short, and Bean. Me and Keith just got Bean. So he's kind of the new addition, but he's been great. I also like going to the gym. Like, I really love working out. So I do that sometimes.
Any TV shows, movies you're currently into, or horse racing movies of that you've liked all time?
I'm very weird with movies. I watch the same ones over and over. Obviously,
Nice.
Biscuit, amazing movie.
Yep.
It's my favorite horse movie, I would say. But TV show, Righteous Gemstones. Like,
oh, yes.
All the way.
Great call. Great call.
Yeah.
I was just listening to interviews of like people talk about how Danny McBride is literally like one of the funniest guys in the world. Like, they're like, when he's in rooms with other funny people, he's the one that stands out. Like, they're all laughing at him, and he kind of comes off that way. Like, you just would always be laughing at him. I think that's a great call. Good show. Music. What do you have a playlist? Do you listen when you're galloping or out in the morning or when you're at the gym? Some things that are on your playlist?
I feel like my shuffle play is so random. Like, you could get anything. You could get like Bad Bunny or Morgan Wallen or like some like indie like sad music. I don't know. It's just super random. Yeah, so
I'm that way too. You'll catch like
teenage music.
Yep. Whatever I'm feeling that day, I really don't discriminate when it comes to music. I like all talented artists, and like kind of feeling something different, I'll go with it. Okay, heels or boots? This was from producer Lucia. She wanted me to ask you, what do you prefer?
Like, what kind of boots?
Like your riding boots. Which one? If you had to wear one or the other, your riding boots or your heels?
The boots.
That's what I figured. The way you were talking about it with the same dresses and not wanting to necessarily get dollied up all the time. I was figuring we were going boots. What about any sports or teams outside of racing? Do you follow along with anything, or growing up, are you a fan of any sports?
Honestly, if it doesn't have 4 legs and a tail, I don't really care. But on my very first date with Keith, he was like, "Do you watch football?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, you have to be a Dallas Cowboys supporter. Otherwise, this is not going to go anywhere." And I was like, "Okay." So I do have a Dallas Cowboys jersey, and I do watch the Dallas Cowboys, and I root them on until they lose every year. And then, yeah.
It was easy for you because you didn't have to desert another team, right? You could root for whoever he was a fan of. I think I saw a clip of you maybe at Del Mar last year where they were showing you team logos and you were trying to pick them. That was pretty funny. I got a kick out of that one. I like that. Yeah, you've traveled all over. What are some of your favorite tracks to visit when you get a chance to go?
Ooh, okay. Well, Saratoga, obviously amazing, but I have to pretend it doesn't exist because we don't go there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So don't tell Delmar, but I am definitely a Saratoga fan all the way. I actually really do love Monmouth Park. I'm back here this weekend for the first time since 2011. But I spent a summer here with my dad. I was walking horses for him and working at a summer camp at Victory Stables in Colts Neck. And it was just like a horse girl dream summer and the best. So, and I made a ton of good friends. So, I do love Monmouth, and I love Churchill Downs, obviously. The most special place, like, I can't even tell you, like, the feeling I get when I am standing out by the 7/8 pole, all the lights are on, the sun is just rising, and I'm just having a moment with my horse. Like, best place ever. Have had some amazing memories there. I met Keith there. Like, it's probably my favorite track.
One thing I want to tell you, in just the times that I've been watching you, like, we can get busy, we can get like caught up when we have a lot of stuff going on, but I feel like you recognize those moments, that the ones that you were just talking about, because it does come through. Like, you definitely like shine through that you really appreciate it, you love what you're doing. Like, it doesn't come off phony, it really comes off very genuine, like how much you love the horses and how much you appreciate what you're doing. And when I'm watching you, sometimes like I want to make sure that I remind myself to kind of slow down and be grateful too, because we can get really caught up, right? And like busy, and you go from one thing to the next, and some days are not as good, but we are very lucky in what we do. And I think you really like portray that. It comes across when you're on the broadcast.
Thank you, Gino. Yeah, I'm just I'm a very sentimental person. Like, I'll be galloping sometimes, and I'm just if I'm on a horse I really like, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so lucky. Like, but that's just my personality. I have a very, I don't know what it just. I love what I'm doing. I love the horses. It's because I was in such a dark place in my youth early. Like, I know what that's like. So to have gotten out of that and now be in this place, like, if 16-year-old me could meet 28-year-old me, she'd be blown away. So
You really appreciate it because you've gone through the roller coaster and the ups and the
totally.
downs, so anywhere that you haven't been that you want to go, like, is there like a bucket list spot for you that you haven't been to yet?
You know what? It's crazy. I've been to Hong Kong a million times. I was born right outside of Shaotin Racetrack, but I've never actually gone to the races there because I
Okay, cool.
hang out with my grandma when I'm there. We don't go to the track. So I'm really looking forward to getting there at some point.
Okay, after a big winning day with you and your dad and your mom, or maybe you and Keith now, he has a great day. What's like the meal of choice or the drink of choice for celebration? Is there a place you go, or is there something that you definitely want when you have a good day?
Ooh, there's a place in Louisville called District 6. It's like a Vietnamese place, and it's just like so good. I love their little summer rolls. That, or just, coming home and eating a dinner
And
at
cooking.
home. Just, yeah, and cooking, or just getting to bed ASAP, waking up and getting to start it all over again as soon as possible.
Andie, I really appreciate the time you gave me. Before we let you go, let us know, where are you right now? I think you and I are recording on Friday, and I think the interview is going to play on Monday, so people will hear it a couple days after. But what's your schedule like coming up? If there's anything you want to plug, anything you want to mention for FanDuel, for your dad, for your horses, where can we see you coming up soon?
So I'm currently at Monmouth this weekend for the Haskell, so I'm really excited to be back here.
Nice.
And then I'll fly back to Louisville Sunday, and I'll probably just go to Ellis on Monday to support Keith and enjoy the day because I won't be working. And then Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be in the Churchill Downs studio, and then I'll go back to Ellis next week. But my dad's got some horses coming up running on Kentucky Downs Preview Day at Ellis Park. There's one horse, his name is Beach Gold. Oh my gosh, he is one of my favorite horses ever, not only to ride, but just to be around. He's a horse who's very honest. He's extremely genuine, and my dad's done a fantastic job managing him and getting him to this point because he overcame a lot of adversity, soundness wise, early in his career, and he's really just right now. So Beach Gold. And then Spicy Princess, a filly, she ran third with Keith the other day at Ellis Park. She's going to run back on August 3rd. She's been she has some potential. She's definitely a quirky filly, a little bit of a project, but it's been fun to kind of watch her incrementally get more confident as she's had more time to settle in Kentucky. So I think she should run better next time.
Andie, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It was a blast getting to know you a little bit more, and I look forward to getting to see you sometime real soon. So we'll be following along with you, and we always appreciate the analysis. Keep up the great work.
Gino, thank you so much for having me. It was a blast.
Yeah, and I will say every person that I spoke to just glowing about you, about how you are on track, on air, off air, just the kindest things to say about you, all your colleagues. So yeah, you can even go give Dave and Mike and all of them a big hug because they absolutely love you. And I'm sure everybody that's seen and heard from Andie does as well. So thank you so much to Andie Biancone. We'll have our little outro and our exit in just a moment, but don't go anywhere, folks, because we still have a little bit more. Thanks so much for listening to episode 4 of the Off the Track podcast with special guest Andie Biancone from FanDuel TV. Make sure to subscribe to the Off the Track podcast at Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, and on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel. Have a great one.